Thanks for staying with us on SABC News. South African Airways says it's growing its fleet to cope with demand. Let's speak to the airline Interim Chief Executive Officer, Prof John Lamola. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News, Prof. Really appreciate it. So just give us an update before we go into the fleet on the state of SAA, both in terms of the operations and ownership.
Since last year, South African Airways had, of course, launched in September 2021. And we believe that we have maintained successful operations, successfully managed to have financial results, which in the history of South African Airways were quite remarkable. Our focus is to keep the success story intact and growing. The airline is doing well, but remember, South African Airways emerged from business rescue as a restructured airline. And what we are driving is a restructured, resized, and repositioned airline. Yeah. So in our growth and in the increase of the fleet, etc., the aim is not just to grow SAA for the sake of growing it, but to ensure that we indeed respond to the needs of our customers, we maintain financial sustainability, and we ensure that the organization generally positions the brand nationally and globally as South African Airways is.
And so, we'll talk about the ownership. I know that that's being wrapped up still. It's a process that's not quite complete.
Yes, as we are running South African Airways now, there are two tracks. The first track is the management operational focus that we are on, which is to ensure that South African Airways grows and increases market share. On the other hand, there is the strategic equity partnership, which is a strategic position taken by the shareholder, South African Airways, as SA comes out of a business rescue, where government agreed that for South African Airways to really move forward, some very fresh capital is required. Additionally, South African Airways needs some kind of an agility that normally one doesn't get when you have an airline run by a government. So that process is going well. It's managed by the Department of Public Enterprises as a shareholder. And we are at the point now, as it is well known, where it is now with the regulatory authorities and other issues that the DPE are dealing with, while we are meeting our responsibilities of ensuring that the SAA grows locally and internationally.
All right, but the financial statements, annual financial statements, are supposed to be in Parliament in September. SAA reported to be one of the entities that missed the deadline. Why? What happened?
South African Airways has gone through business rescue, and it went into business rescue because in 2018-2019, there was the business continuity issue because African Airways had major financial problems. And it has not been easy, obviously. So we have had to put together with the Auditor General, a very arduous audit process, external audit process, which has gone fairly well. And we are at a point now where in this coming weeks, the boards of SAA is going through all those financial statements. And before the end of this year, an annual general meeting will be held, and everything will be wrapped up.
I'll follow up with you on that before the end of the year, Prof. Let's speak about the fleets and routes. What's your capacity at the moment? Because as you've said, you've really changed the way that SAA is looking. What's that looking like?
When we launched in September 2021, we had only 3 routes with 6 aircraft. By December 2022, we had 10 routes only that we were flying with 7 aircraft. Currently, we are at a point where we will be, by this holiday season, be having 14 routes, and we'll be flying about 13 aircraft, which is a great achievement for us. But the pinnacle of all this success is the fact that we'll be launching our first intercontinental international route, which is the Sao Paulo route to Brazil, as well as a route to Abidjan in West Africa, and we'll be doing a seasonal route, which is very fresh for us as South African Airways, to Gqeberha, which will be a route that will fly between December and sometime during February.
Okay. You've acquired two 737s as part of what's called a damp lease agreement. What is that and what does that mean?
Allow me please to explain, Zinga, there are three ways of leasing aircraft. And SAA, where it is now in this transitional period, we are working on a lease model. Normally you have a dry lease, which is for about 3 to 6 years. And then we have what you call a dry lease, where you have an aircraft and then you operate for 3 to 6 years. Then you have what you call a wet lease, where an operator brings in an aircraft with its cabin crew as well as its pilot, and then they also take care of maintenance and insurance of the aircraft. But we have innovatively, as the management of SAA, decided on what we call a damp lease. A damp lease means where we insisted on ensuring that the aircraft that we get into operation will be serviced by South African Airways cabin crew, which is a celebrated cabin crew in 2023 now at the Sidetracks Awards. We won the best cabin crew in Africa award. So we are in a situation where we have a very strong medium-term plans, where we have permission from the shareholder to acquire 6 additional aircraft. We are waiting for 4 on a long-term dry lease. But as an intervening process, we have these short-term leases, which will happen for about 4 to 12 months. And we are grateful to our customers that they have been able to understand that in this transition, we are flying aircraft that may not have the normal colors and the features of a South African Airways plane.
SA Interim Chief Executive Officer, Professor John Lamola, thank you so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.